Are you going to start?
First question, when and where did your spiritual journey begin?
I suppose that everyone's spiritual journey begins when they are born, but we are only aware of it later on. When I encountered extreme depression, anxiety, and confusion in regards to schizophrenia, which happened way earlier for me than it usually does, I needed to try to figure out exactly how everything worked and why it was the way it was, and how I could change my experience, how I could change myself, and the human experience I was having. So it was absolutely necessary that I find something that is beyond, so that what is within this reality, even within this reality, well, what is beyond is within ourselves, but something outside of the exterior experience of reality, what's happening around me, my society, my family, my friends, I needed to break free, find something beyond, and over time I've learned that beyondness is also within me. So,
Question 2, what was the first manifestation of groping for meaning? Did you keep a journal?
I've kept many journals, diaries, and spell books and grimoires. I think that, so I became so depressed in high school that I thought I was going to kill myself, so I wanted to bounce my consciousness. I wanted to think through everything as much as possible so that it could be preserved. So I was writing page after page after page of philosophy, bouncing my ideas off this, bouncing my ideas off that, and trying to understand myself, the nature of ideas, the nature of love itself, the nature of good, evil, and I wrote all this stuff down in high school because I thought I was going to kill myself. But then the more that I wrote these things down, the more I realized that there's so much I don't know. There's even so much I don't know now. I mean, there's so much that we always don't know. But I learned that since there was so much that I don't know, that perhaps I should try to know more before ending my ability to do so. At any rate, go ahead and go to the next question.
Question 3, what spiritual path did you adopt at first?
I experimented with Christianity, baptism, Catholicism, and baptism. I suppose that I was always drawn back to Buddhism because when I was 8 years old, I really looked up all the definitions of all spiritual paths and all religions, and I found like Buddhism, ending suffering, was the one that just stuck me to like, okay, this is wonderful. Ending suffering, or trying to end suffering for ourselves and for everyone else by teaching once we realize it ourselves. So that drew me to Buddhism, the ending of suffering. Because even at a young age, I knew I was different. I knew I was depressed, and even as a kid. So that's kind of what drew me.
Question 4, what insight into searching into the spirit of things would you give to someone seeking truths?
Research, read a lot from different views, different spiritual paths, different religions. Find what makes sense for you, and if you can't find something, perhaps combine things that make sense to you. Though it's hard for me to write a specific prescription for somebody who's in that situation, but it's very important that you just try to digest a number of things so that you can produce something that is from your actual soul, your heart, something that resonates with you, if you don't find resonance in any one path or religion.
Question 5, what was the metamorphosis like as you became more involved in your mission?
I started to see my ego. I started to see where I had failed and where I had done something well. I think that my evolution, I think that's the word I would use preferably, it took time. And it took understanding. And as this time and understanding started to rack up, I started to transform from seeing everything in the way I had been and transforming it into a more vaster, more optimistic, and more logical frame that is around this picture that I am, this human life that I'm living. It contains in a certain way any kind of belief contains, but The container I find myself in, I think, is less than not only what other people experience, but what I could have been from considering the circumstances I was in.
Question 6. How old were you when you discovered Odin? What impact did that make?
How old was I? I want to say 23 or 24. I think 24. At first, he was just an idea, like any god, an ideal even. And then as I started to understand him and connect to him more, I started to realize that his personhood, not only personality, but his function, his role. And once I started to realize that, I started to realize how much I needed to attune with Odin, because it wasn't immediate. I thought it was foolish to worship gods like this or work with gods like this, but over time, it started to make a lot of sense. And that's when I really started to reach out, and in reaching out, I found.
Question 7. Has Kalimos saved your life? How has the Divine Mother's light affected you?
The term saved life, so what I'm going to interpret that as is that she definitely has given me an inner conscience and an inner direction. Odin has as well, but she's given me a purpose behind the purpose, if that makes any sense. A will behind my own. A compassion that's deeper than anything that I held within my breast. I guess in a way she has saved me. She's vast, her influence is vast, and her influence upon me is vast. So it's hard to answer in a single, in reflection on a question. But yeah, it's she's honestly, the best way I could say it, she's my everything. Is that the end of the questions?
Let's last the questions.
All right, everybody. Thank you very much, Josh, for coming up with these questions.
You're welcome.
And thank you very much for everybody for watching. Now, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, put them down in the comment section below on YouTube. Or if you need to contact me on any of these topics, as long as you're polite, I'll talk to you. Go to www.facebook.com/hunter.salazar, HUNTER.SALAZAR. And then you can message me through Facebook Messenger and ask about these various things or some other spiritual things you might be interested in. At any rate, thank you very much for watching. Of all of you, have a wonderful day.